Welcome back to another tutorial. So in last week's tutorial, we implemented the ability so that the character doesn't shoot itself and the monsters can't hurt each other, which is compiling in the background. So we can see that the monsters can still shoot me, I can still shoot the monsters, but you will notice that the projectiles go through the monsters rather than, or their projectiles go through them, but mine can still hit them, which I personally find it personally quite proud of the implementation that I made. But in any case, so in this week's tutorial, we are going to bring some life to our player by implementing a sprite. Now, just before we start, I want to give a huge shout out to my girlfriend who created the sprite sheets for both the player character and all four projectiles. Sadly, she isn't big on social media, so I can't link her social media in the link below, but I still wanted to give a shout out and all so she created it. It's not from me. I just wanted to make that clear before we start. Now, to get things started with, you should head over to GitHub and you can find the assets at github/wolfman13 /HaxeFlixel tutorial, and then you can go to this little drop down, go down to tutorial 9, and then you can go from there, you go assets, images, and you find the player PNG, so you can just click on download from there, and so you can go save as, save, and that's about it. From there you can, let me open it. So from there you can drag and drop it into your game's assets folder, which you can find over here, specifically in images. Then if we drag it over into images, cool, now it's in images. Now for us to have the ability to have code completion, you need to actually close down the editor and reopen it. Now I'll come back once the editor is open, so see you then. Okay, cool. Now with the editor open, you can head on over to player.hx. So in this class, we are going to replace the make graphic function that we used to create the orange square. We are going to replace it with a function that loads the sprite sheet and then sets the sprite sheet. So we can start with saying load graphic. And this is the reason that I suggested that you restart your editor so that you can have code completion for this part, because HaxeFlixel, or Hax specifically, has this cool thing where it can look into a folder and pre-generate code depending on what's in that folder. So you can say else, I might have to include it. Asset let me do it. I think so. Asset power, and then you can see a pre-generated played underscore PNG, which is the name, and then the underscore just replaces the dot. So we import the player PNG, and then we say we want the animation, the sprite sheet is animated, so true. And the sprite sheet is 16 pixels by 16 pixels. You still want to give me issues? Awesome. Now, this is, you'll see if you did the tutorial on the HaxeFlixel website where they create the little RPG. They specifically set it so that so you only create your sprites to face, like say for right, and then you flip your sprite to face left. That way you have less sprites on in memory, but you can still make it look like you have both left and right. So we are going to flip it. So set place facing flip. My F's are just all over the place today. So FLX object dot right So the sprite sheet has the sprites for right facing, whether that be walking, standing, or shooting. So we don't want to flip it in either the X nor the Y axes. Forgive my stuttering, it's so early in the morning, it's like almost, okay, it's not that early, but it's still early for me. In any case, so set facing, flip, HaxeFlixel object dot left, and because we have the right one, we want to flip it. And this is the part that's a little weird to me, because intuitively, if you flip something, you would from right to left, you would flip it on the Y almost. But that could just be me being completely dumbass when it comes to these things. But from both the tutorial and what I've seen, we have to flip it in the X-axis and not in the Y-axis. Cool. Oh, misspelled that. My bad. Cool. Now we want to set the animations, and bear with me because it's a fair few lines that we'll have to write, because we want to set the animations for walking left, walking right, walking up, walking down. Let me just remove this. We also want to set the attack animations for all 4 directions and the standing still direction animation for all 4 directions. So we can start with saying animation.add. We give the animation a name, so resting down, and an array. So we have 3 frames in the for the first animation, so we say 3, and then it is looping, because if the player is standing still, we want him to just stand still whilst his animation loops through. Now you might be wondering, what is this array for? So if we open the player.png and just zoom in a bit, so you can see that from, like, this sort of resembles an array. You could see it as an array of images. So this would be index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's so on. And since we said that the first animation has 3 pictures that it has to loop through, we set it as index 0, index 1, index 2. So we can go 0, 1, and 2. Now this will go, every time this runs, it'll go show this image, wait, show this image, wait, show this image, wait, loop back, and by doing that, it creates the illusion of an animation with sprites, which is pretty cool. So now we have to do this for all other animations. So we can just Control C, Control B, B, B for the axes of resting. So it's resting right, resting left, and resting up. Cool. Now resting right and left are the exact same, but I want to stipulate more specifically that we have an animation for right and an animation for left. Although in the HaxeFlixel tutorial on their webpage, they made an animation for both left and right, but personally I just like going and specifically saying this animation does this, this animation does this, rather than saying this animation covers both. Although you can do that where it just covers both. So next up we have frame 3, frame 4, and frame 5. It's also 3 frames and it loops, so we can just copy that. So you can see this is exactly the same. All that changes is the name. And in the function here, you can see you can flip it in the X axis. So you don't have to do this. You can flip it specifically whilst adding the animation, although this just does it once and it's done, rather than having to flip it for each left animation. So it makes more sense to put it in a function over here. And then for up, it is 6, 7, and 8. Cool. Now next on to the attacking animation. So animation dot add attack up. No, attack down, sorry. I have my notes open on my other monitor, so I just lost track of which frame, which line of code I was looking at. Now the attack animation, before we go any further, just zoom in so you can see it's 1, 2, so resting up, or resting down, resting right, resting up, and then that's technically resting left as well. Now you can see with the attack one, it's only 1 frame because we just want 1 frame where it shoots out the projectile and it's over with. So we don't have like 3 frames that we loop through where it like builds up Dragon Ball Z style of attacks. Just 1 frame, shoots fireball, and it's over with. So for this, we can just say it's frame number 9. It has only 1 frame and it doesn't loop. Cool. Now we can Control C, Control V, V, and V. Attack right, attack left, and attack up. Cool. Now this is frame 10. This is also frame 10, and then, if I can get to it, this is frame 11. Sweet. Next up is the running animation, or walking animation. So walking down, we have our usual array. This time it has 4 frames because it just required a bit more detail, like you should see the right leg moving forward, the left arm, the right arm moving back, also right leg moves forward, and so on and so forth. So it's just a bit more intricate than, say, the resting one, which is just shows it going up and down. So it's frame 12, frame 13, 13, frame 14, and frame 15. Cool. Now, same as with the other animations, we can go Control C and then Control V, and Control V. So right, left, and up. Sweet. So for this, it's 16, 17, 18, and 19. Cool. So we can copy that and paste it over here. And then for the last one, we can just remove everything and say it's frame 20, 21, 22, and 23. Sweet. So that is all the animations set up, ready. The asset has been loaded. Now to animate everything, first off, we just want to go down to the movement script. Now they did something similar in the, well, they did the exact same thing. I tend to like use parts of the original tutorial just to make my life a bit easier, and it's dumb to rewrite to recreate the wheel for the sake of recreating the wheel. So when the player is moving upwards, we say facing equals FLX object dot up. If it's moving down, we say facing equals FLX object dot down. Let me just Control C. So this is left, and then this is right. So we specifically in the code state that the player is facing up, down, left, or right, so that as we go, we can dynamically update the animations according to which way we are facing. So now we want to create a new function for handling animations. Now, So in the original tutorial, they did the animations in the movement script, but their animations didn't have a resting animation. which resulted in the player always getting stuck in the running animation. But I found that if you have an animation function specifically to handle the animation choices, it allows you to also do the resting animation. So we say if velocity dot x does not equal 0, or the velocity for y does not equal 0. So if the player is running around, moving, or trying to move at least, make sure that they that we play the running animation. So we can use a switch statement based on which way we are facing. And in case we are facing up, it always does this. I don't know why. It annoys me every time. So animation dot play, and we call the animation for walking or running, walking up specifically. Cool. Now we can end up doing the same thing, or this similar thing for all the other walking animations. I'm just going to copy this to make life a bit quicker. And we have 4 animations for walking. So it is up, left, down, and then the last one is right. That's it, I can spell it. Cool. Now this will handle the animations for walking up, down, left, and right, but we still have animations left for when the player is just normally standing still. We don't want it to be in a continuous running state. So we say else if if the player is standing still, so we specifically want the and, we can then go just pretty much yoink the switch case, place it over here, and then we say resting instead of walking. So if the player is not moving, then it should be in the resting state. Cool. Now to test this out, I just want to make sure that there aren't any monsters spawning. So we go over to playstate.hx, and then when we spawn the monsters, we can just remove that one and make it a 0. Awesome. Now let's see what this looks like. Now note, it might be a bit small, but we will fix that in the later tutorial. So depending on your monitor size, you might not see it very properly, especially if you're watching the video. And we did something. Oh yeah, that's right. I swear I do this almost every video. Now you notice that we have a character. It's there, although the animations isn't there, and it's my dumbass that is the reason for that. We created the animation function, but we forgot to call it. So we just say animate. Cool, let's retry. So F5 to run it. It's compiling on debug mode. And by the way, I'm well aware that there has been an update for HaxeFlixel, although I haven't updated myself because I'm afraid to break something in case it happens. Now you might not be able to see it, but like the animation changes. If we're standing still, it is in the resting animation. If we move, it looks like it's walking around. The animation works fine for walking down, walking up, walking left, walking right, standing still left, standing still right, standing still down, and standing still up. Awesome. That is absolutely great. Now, just before you go, if you like this video, please feel free to drop a like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter. I will make sure that the link is down in the description, although if it's not, it should be in some of the previous tutorials, but I tend to be good with links or going back to links. And on another note, if you are a huge fan of programming like I myself am, feel free to come over to 8bitswag.com. We are selling awesome swag for developers. We have everything from shirts, hoodies, and stickers, and I am working on adding more things, although it's going a bit slowly because I'm also trying to figure out a way to make the store a bit more affordable for both me and you as a customer. But you can see we have stickers, we have hoodies, we have shirts, and the list just goes on and on and on. And we have 6 pages of it. And as it says here, we are a small store made for developers by developers. Now, please, I ask you to enjoy your day and have a wonderful week. Until next time, and goodbye.